Hey everybody, Prophet here. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to be debunking Phil's claims from earlier this morning where he accused Activision Blizzard, a multi-billion-dollar company, of having a shit netcode and bad servers for Warzone 2. Now, this is going to be very easy to debunk. And also, we're going to look at Phil's internet connection again, and we're going to explain why he has so many issues playing online multiplayer games while streaming. Now, I just want to touch on one thing really quick here before we start, is basically Phil's internet connection. For those that don't know, Phil is using a 300 megabits down, 10 megabits up connection. Now, that's not a good internet connection for streaming and gaming at the same time. Of course not, right? Download rate's not bad. 300 megabits is low, but it's doable. The upload rate, though, is a massive issue, and I'll explain why. You can see right now that I am currently streaming. Let's bring up my OBS again. So right now I'm streaming to a private stream. I've got the exact same settings that Phil has. We'll go over that settings. We'll look at my settings. And I'm also recording like Phil, okay? Now, I'm using 9.9, you saw that spike there, 9.9 megabits per second, okay? Remember, Phil only has a 10 megabits connection. So that doesn't leave a lot of room for anything else. And we know that Phil has multiple things attached to his network, and we'll go over that. So let's listen to this video here and what Phil had claimed happened to him on Monday night. Basically, he had all these bounties, but because the servers were so bad, he couldn't get them, and then he lost money, basically. Let's take a listen.
For the most part, there have been great suspenseful times, and usually I'll make a top 10 placing, which means, I'll hit some of these bounties. Last night, there were several times where I was set up for success, should have, by dead to rights, should have made top 10. But instead, because of insanely bad server quality and connection, I got screwed out of it. And that really upsets me when I'm working my ass off and you're playing a match for 15, 20 minutes to get to that point, and you plan everything right, and the game refuses to work properly because you have a billion-dollar company that's lazy and doesn't actually improve their online connectivity. It's a joke, Situations where I'm in a room, a guy walks in. On my end, it shows me draw my weapon, fire, hitting this guy multiple times before he ever looks at me. Then he turns and looks at me, opens fire on me, we get into a firefight, I die. Okay, what happened there? I was shooting him way before he shot me. Look at his kill cam. On his kill cam, he walks in the room, turns, sees me, aims and fires before I even looked at him. Like, seriously.
Okay, so what Phil is explaining there isn't the server. The issue is Phil's connection, okay? So when Phil sees somebody move on the screen, that is done through Phil's download, right? That information is being downloaded from the server to Phil's PC. Phil's actions of turning and shooting are then uploaded to the server, and the server needs to register that. The problem is that Phil's maxed bandwidth, and he's over his bandwidth limit. That's why you see the pixelization. That's why he gets the lag. He doesn't understand how poor his internet truly is. So when Phil saw that on his screen, and then when Phil saw the kill cam, Phil saw his player not move. That's because Phil's internet is so slow, it's not uploaded to the server yet. The server's waiting on Phil, okay? And that's why Phil died. If it was the server, everybody would be having this issue, which doesn't occur, okay? You can see players like, or pros like Tim the Tatman, Dr. Disrespect, who else is there? Courage, people like that, Zealander. They don't have those issues that Phil has, okay? Phil's the only one that suffers these issues because his internet speed is so bad. So let's listen to Phil admitting what he has set for a bitrate, and then I'll explain everything.
Recording, I am. I literally am. I'm recording and streaming at the same bitrate. Let me see if I can figure out what it is, though. It might not let me. It might not show me because I'm already broadcasting. Let's see here. 8,500 kilobits per second. Yeah, I'm streaming at 8,500 kilobits, and I'm capturing at 8,500 kilobits. I do exactly.
Okay, that's actually a lie on Phil's side there, okay? You don't capture at a bit rate, Okay, capturing requires bandwidth from your internet. So I don't know why he would say he's capturing at 8,500 kilobits per second, and that's just 8.5 megabits. We're not going to use kilobits anymore because that's don't worry about that. So you can't capture with bandwidth, okay? Well, you can, but Phil's not, okay? He's streaming it from his console, or not streaming it. It's attached from his console through the capture card and then out to his TV. So there is no bandwidth being used. So he's not capturing at 8,500 kilobits like he says, okay? So Phil admits there that he is using 8.5 megabits per second. Now let's take a look at my OBS settings. I am set to 8,500 kilobits, okay? 8.5 megabits, I should say. What Phil isn't factoring in is also his audio bitrate. Now, I have my audio bitrate set to 320. YouTube won't support an audio bitrate of 320. Twitch will. But YouTube only supports an audio bitrate of 160 kilobits, okay? So Phil has to add that. You have to add that to your video bitrate. So right away, you're at 8660 kilobits or 8.7 megabits per second. But that's not the entire show, right? Now, if you look at this, I'm spiking. You saw those spikes there earlier of almost 26 megabits per second, okay? And that's not even playing a game yet, all right? You're going to get those spikes. So no matter what, like average right now, I'm like 9.1, 9.3, right? That means it doesn't leave Phil a lot of room when Phil is playing a multiplayer game, right? Now, how much bandwidth does Warzone need? Activision recommends a minimum bandwidth of 4 megabits per second, okay? So immediately, like Phil's going to be at 12.7 megabits per second, let's just say round it up to 13 megabits, and it's going to spike and use more because I'm over the 8660 that is required, right? I'm over by almost 500 kilobits per second. So Phil's going to be spiking. Phil is immediately out of bandwidth, okay? And I know Piece of Peace had asked me, shout out to Piece of Peace, as to why Phil's streams do not look like they're 1080p. Like, does this look 1080p to you? It's supposed to be, right? According to YouTube. Phil is not actually streaming at 1080p, and I'll get to that in the next upcoming video, which I hopefully will have done this weekend. It'll explain it all, why he has so many issues with his streams and why it looks like crap, okay? So let's actually load into a game here. You can watch me get my ass kicked in Warzone solos. And you'll see it spike, especially when I'm shooting or when I'm moving. You're going to see it spike because it has to upload that data to the server, right? I have seen in Warzone, spikes higher than 50 megabits per second, okay? Remember, Activision recommends 4 megabits per second min, but it can spike, right? You're probably looking at more likely around an average of 8 megabits per second while gaming in Warzone. And each game will differ. Even if you're playing a single player game, some of those single player games will upload metadata to like leaderboards that show where you are in the single player game, right? And stack you accordingly. So there's still information being uploaded that you don't even know about. Now remember, Phil also has other multiple devices attached to his network as well, right? He's got his PC, he's got his notebook, he's got his phone. Cat's piece of shit gaming PC is also plugged into that. So there's multiple devices that are also using up bandwidth on Phil's shitty internet connection. So remember, 300 megabits down, it's okay. It's not great. You can get better for cheaper. We all know Phil way overpays nearly $500 a month for internet access. And if you want, I actually have a video that compares residential versus internet or versus business, and it compares them both on the same line like Phil has it set up. Remember, Phil has one line going into his condo and then 2 modems. His modems are not in what's called bonding. What bonding means is it can take 2 modems and make them function as one and basically double your internet speed, right? That can be done. It's usually not done in a residential setting. You won't see that very often. So there will be issues because Phil is running what's called double NAT. And I proved that by running the residential business on my PC downstairs while streaming the business internet. I had a 4K video playing on the business internet, and it basically cut my bandwidth in half, right? So if Kat's downstairs watching a 4K movie with Tyrone on the residential internet while Phil's upstairs streaming, it's going to affect Phil's gameplay. It's going to affect his internet upstairs, no matter what, because he's only got the one line with 2 cable modems. And remember, Phil does not have fiber available in his area, so he's limited.
Enemy soldier incoming.
Let's play for a little bit here. See, as I shot, you saw it spike to 9.5 megabits. You can see it spiking again, 10.1 megabits. But that spike alone, that's already over what Phil has available for his ban. God, I suck.
Now you deploy to the Warzone.
So let's jump into the actual game here. We'll find out how many people. Now remember, whenever I shoot and move, that has to be uploaded to the server. Any action that I do on my end has to be uploaded to the server. Now my internet connection, I have 100 megabits upload. So I don't have to worry about a fucking thing. You can see the spiking. Look at this right here. Look at how much it spikes.
Battle Royale.
There's 144 people on the server right now.
Closing in fast. Get to the safe zone.
Let's just jump, do this really quick. Ah! Fucking proximity chat.
Oh, pause myself again. So
Area. Watch
Shut the fuck up.
in the AO.
Let's go kill somebody really quick or get killed ourselves.
Enemy UAV overhead.
One down. As you can see, like look at the spikes right now down below there, right? You can see those spikes really hitting hard. Now again, my internet's not affected because I have crap. Yeah, now I'm dead. Okay, so let's end the game here. Let's take a look what we're spiking to. So we're spiking over 17 megabits per second, okay? We are well over 10 megabits per second for most of the round. Now remember, Phil's internet can't do that, right? He's capped at 10 megabits per second, meaning that if he wants to play a game, he needs a faster internet connection or a faster upload speed. Now, unfortunately, because he's on cable and not on fiber, because fiber's not available in his internet, the max upload that Comcast will allow on its coax line is 35 megabits per second. This should be adequate for Phil to do, but again, Phil's going to have to change his internet plan. Bring it up right here. We looked at these before, okay? Now, this is what's available in Phil's area as per the address for Bourbonnel Productions, okay? So Phil can get a 1200 megabits down, 35 megabits up connection, which will be fine, a lot faster than what he has right now, right? And that will allow Phil to do the 1080p 60 while gaming. Now, Phil can lower his bitrate. A lot of people ask me, it's like, Prophet, 8,500 megabits per second seems like a lot for 1080p 60. Actually, it's not. YouTube has a, let's see here, I have it here actually. So this is what YouTube recommends. Okay, so for 1080p 60, YouTube recommends anywhere between 3,000 and 6,000 kilobits per second. Okay. The maximum, or sorry, that's actually 1080p. So this is for 1080p 60. This is what YouTube recommends. Okay. So if Phil wants to stream at that, Phil should lower his bitrate down to 4,500. It'll be perfectly fine. It will not affect his image quality a lot. But the problem is Phil actually isn't streaming at 1080p. Phil is more likely is in between 480p and 720p. And I'll explain that in the next video that I'll be doing here. And I'll explain that in a second. So for 1080p 60, again, 9,000 kilobits per second. That's perfectly fine. Now, I've proved in the other video that if you go over, like say you set like 14,000. Remember, Phil used to be at 14,000 kilobits per second. And he ran into a lot of dropped frames. And Phil would blame that on, the graphic quality of the game that I'm playing on my console affects my stream. No. That actually has nothing to do with it. There's no post-processing done on your PC or capture card when you're capturing. All the processing, all the rendering is done on your console. Your capture card just facilitates to be able to have your PC record an image. It'd be like a VCR, right? If you're recording a tape or you're recording a TV show off of cable TV on your VCR, right? It doesn't require any horsepower to do, right? Phil's an idiot. He has no idea how his stream functions. He has no idea how his setup functions. He just makes it up as he goes along. And we've proven that. And we've proven that today with all this factual evidence. Now, Phil should probably lower his bitrate down to 4,500. The issue is it's still going to spike higher than 10 megabits per second. So he's still going to have issues. And a game will differ. Like a game like a fighting game definitely use less bandwidth than Warzone does. If Phil was playing an MMO, like say World of Warcraft, remember, Warzone, we only had 144 people on that server. In an MMO like World of Warcraft, you can have thousands, tens of thousands of people on a server, right? Imagine if you're in a major city, you'll see bandwidth spike crazy, okay? Like average like 25, 50 megabits per second, which is again, like, insane. But this basically proves that Phil's internet connection is to blame for everything that he likes to accuse his lag, right? Like when he's in Street Fighter, it's laggy, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Warzone, it's laggy. Oh, fucking, this game's laggy online, right? It's not the server. It's not the netcode. It's Phil's connection that's really, really poor. Right, and factor in the lower input rate on his TV. Look at this, 4K 60, 51,000 kilobits per second. Right, Phil couldn't do any of this. Right, that's not possible for Phil. Phil couldn't even do 1440p. Phil can barely do 1080p 60 as it is. So again, to the dents that are out there, Phil's fans, Phil's whales. When Phil is complaining about lag, 100% of the time it's probably his connection, right? He can't sustain 1080p 60 streaming while gaming at the same time. It's just impossible for his internet connection, right? Coupled with all the other devices he has attached to his network that are also using bandwidth, Phil's not capable of doing what he wants to do with his current internet. His PC is perfectly fine. His PC has nothing to do with this. It's 100% Phil's internet. And again, Phil can get a new internet speed, $80 a month, 1,200 megabits down, 35 megabits up. And again, he doesn't need both a business and a residential line. That's just bullshit. He's doing that so that he can seem more professional and he can go for clout because he's this professional business owner bullshit that he comes up with all the time. So all in all, Phil's lying, okay? It has nothing to do with the servers. It's got nothing to do with the netcode. It's Phil's internet connection that's causing the problem. Surprise, surprise there. Upcoming this Friday, we are going to be doing a restream. We are going to be having a special segment with Meth Bear. Don't know how long it's going to be. It might take half the stream. It might take less. But we're going to go over a issue that has occurred within the Tismverse, that is Phil Burnell. We'll be going over that. We're going to be doing some Fightcade, maybe some Warzone, maybe World of Warcraft. Who knows what we're going to get into. Definitely Fightcade, though, for sure. I know I have a lot of people that want to come and play. Also, hopefully this weekend I will have the capture card video. Now, this capture card video is basically going to be a follow-up going over the new capture card that Phil got from that dent that sent it to him, where Phil shit on FedEx for not getting to him overnight. This, basically, we're going to go into looking into, again, what happened with Phil's capture card. Again, there was nothing wrong with his capture card. It just turned out to be an OBS setting and his cables. Because when Phil plugged in the new capture card, it still didn't work. Surprise, right? We're also going to be looking at Phil's OBS settings and what Phil is actually streaming at. And again, we're going to go over why Phil's streams look like shit, why he has so much issues with his gaming, all combined into one. So hopefully I'm going to have that up either Saturday or Sunday. Again, if you haven't yet subscribed to Snood's channel, make sure you do. I'll have it linked down here in the description. Detractor beam. And again, I want to thank everybody for being a part of this channel. I know there's a lot of turmoil within the community right now. Like I've stated on that being said, Discord, ignore it. Focus on the community, focus on the content that you like, and let it blow over. Okay, I've said my piece about what's going on, and I really don't have much more to say about that, all right? Now, but again, to everybody that's part of my channel, thank you guys. I love you so much for all your support here. Channel's going to be growing more because we're going to be live streaming more. I'm going to be doing a PC build here in the future that we're going to be live streaming while restreaming Phil. We'll be doing fight nights. We'll be doing Warzone. We'll be doing World of Warcraft. Again, if anybody wants to join us for those, by all means, hit me up on Discord. Just DM me. I'll get you an invite to the Discord channel where we chat during the streams and everything. And again, thank you very much, guys. If you like this video, please leave a like, sub to the channel. We'll catch you all in the next one.